What if I told you that 5 minutes could buy you an entire year of life? Not 5 minutes in a gym, not 5 minutes meditating on a mountaintop, 5 minutes of something you're already doing, just not quite right. At the start of 2026, scientists analyzed data from over 135,000 people and uncovered how to literally rewind your cell's aging clock using habits so small they almost sound like a joke. And here's the uncomfortable part. The $50 billion anti-aging industry is terrified you're about to learn this, because once you do, a lot of what they sell becomes unnecessary. Stay with me. This isn't hype. This is how lifespan actually gets hacked. Here's something nobody really tells you. Modern life quietly pushes you into patterns that shorten your lifespan without you ever making a bad decision. Every hour you sit longer than your body evolved for. Every night you scroll instead of sleeping just a little more. Every time stress stays switched on longer than it should. This isn't about discipline, it's about environment. And the result isn't just feeling tired, it's accelerated aging, measurable at the cellular level. But this is where things get interesting. At the start of 2026, 3 massive studies changed how we think about longevity. We're talking fitness wearables, DNA analysis, biological age testing, tracked across more than 135,000 people. Not athletes, not biohackers, regular adults living normal lives. And what they found wasn't extreme. Let me take you to Sydney, Australia. At the start of 2026, a team of researchers published what may be one of the most important longevity studies of the decade in BMJ Medicine, one of the world's top medical journals. Before the numbers, understand the question they asked. Not what's optimal, not what's perfect. They asked, what's the minimum effort that still meaningfully extends life? In other words, what actually works for real people? They tracked 59,467 adults, complete health data, sleep, diet, movement, lifestyle. This wasn't theory, it was daily life, measured. Then they stripped away everything extreme and focused on the smallest changes with the biggest impact. Here's what they found. Change 1. Sleep. Not perfect sleep hygiene, just 5 extra minutes per night. 5 minutes. Hit snooze once. Sleep at 11:55 instead of midnight. Take a short nap. That alone made a difference. Change 2. Movement. Just 2 minutes of brisk activity per day. Not a workout, not a gym routine. Walking with intention, taking the stairs once. Pacing during a phone call. Less time than making coffee. Change 3. Diet. Not restriction, not a new philosophy. Just half a serving of vegetables or whole grains. 3 baby carrots, a handful of spinach, 1 slice of whole grain bread. Almost too small to notice. Now pause here, because this is the key. Together, these 3 changes added 1 full year of life expectancy. 1 year from changes most people wouldn't even label as habits. But when participants did just a little more, 24 extra minutes of sleep per night, under 4 minutes of daily exercise, and a modestly better diet, they didn't gain 1 year, they gained 9 additional years of life expectancy. Published, peer-reviewed, confirmed using 135,000 people from the Lancet and the UK Biobank. And here's the part most people miss. The biggest benefits weren't seen in already healthy people. They appeared in people starting from the worst habits. So if you think you're too far gone, according to this data, that's exactly where the biggest gains happen. So here's the blunt question. How little movement does it actually take to meaningfully reduce early death? At the start of 2026, the Lancet answered this with the largest activity study ever conducted. 135,000 adults tracked with fitness wearables over years. Their answer surprised a lot of people. 5 minutes. 5 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity per day reduced overall premature death risk by 6 to 10%. Not one disease. All causes. And researchers didn't stop there. When they looked specifically at people who were completely sedentary, 0 intentional exercise, the pattern became even more interesting. They measured what happened when those individuals increased activity from about 1 minute per day to just 6. 1 to 6 minutes. That small shift was associated with roughly a 30% lower mortality risk in the least active group. 30%. comparable in magnitude to some prescription heart medications, except this intervention costs nothing. Independent analyses from large datasets like the UK Biobank showed the same direction of effect. And here's another finding that matters. Reducing sitting time alone by about 30 minutes per day, even without formal exercise, was linked to up to 13% lower risk. Your body doesn't care whether you call it a workout. It just doesn't want you to be still for too long. You have two ages: your chronological age, how many birthdays you've had, and your biological age, how old your cells actually behave. In 2026, researchers showed we can influence the second one. It's called epigenetic reprogramming. Think of your DNA like a control panel with millions of switches. Stress, poor sleep, and chronic inflammation flip those switches toward aging, but certain behaviors flip them back. Yale researchers showed that stress reduction, meditation, breathwork, even laughter produces measurable changes in DNA methylation, not feelings, biology. Harvard confirmed this. People with strong social connections aged more slowly at the epigenetic level than isolated individuals. Translation: that text you haven't replied to isn't trivial. It's a biological signal. Physical activity does the same thing. Even those 5-minute movement bursts from the Lancet study reprogram your epigenome to fight inflammation and shut down aging pathways. You're not just getting exercise, you're changing how your genes behave. Every time you choose the stairs, you're telling your DNA, we're staying young. Every time you sleep that extra 5 minutes, you're giving your cells time to repair daily damage. Every time you eat those 3 baby carrots, you're feeding the genes that keep you alive longer. This is why small habits compound. They're not just adding time, they're rewinding the clock inside every cell of your body. Here's a surprising question. What's as powerful as exercise for your heart, boosts your immune system, and costs absolutely nothing? Friends. In October 2025, Harvard School of Public Health published a study showing that strong social connections slow biological aging as much as regular exercise. Cornell tracked people for 15 years. Those with lifelong social connections had a 50% higher chance of survival. Stanford confirmed that feeling supported activates genes that repair DNA and suppress inflammation. Here's what ties all of this together. These habits don't work in isolation. They reinforce each other. Connection makes you move more. Movement drops your stress. Lower stress improves your sleep. And better sleep makes everything else easier. That's the real formula for longevity, not willpower. Just small wins quietly stacking. And the anti-aging industry hates how simple this is. All the supplements, the biohacks, the expensive devices, they're chasing what you already have access to for free. Now let's lock in the science. A January 2026 study in eClinicalMedicine found that adding 5 extra minutes of sleep, 2 minutes of moderate activity, and half a serving more vegetables per day could extend life by about a year. That's for people starting with the worst habits. That's the floor. Slightly larger, but still realistic, changes were linked to up to 4 extra disease-free years. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. The habits you build right now, in your 20s, 30s, 40s, are quietly deciding what your later decades look like. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is tomorrow morning. Subscribe to Health Hacked for science-backed longevity. No noise, no overpriced solutions. And if you complete day 1 of the protocol, drop a comment. Day 1 done. That small commitment matters more than you realize.